Hey everyone, welcome back to Empire Build Academy. This is from Zero to Hero, episode 4 on Evony. We're going to look at a few things today. Let's just jump over there, just have a quick look at what the world is looking like. I haven't done anything really since the last video, so it's all still pretty much as you were. But we are going to be looking at some different things today, which include first look at general equipment, killing monsters. We'll also have an introduction to troops as well. And then finally, we'll have a look at 3 buildings. Don't want to do too much in terms of what I'm throwing at you on each of the episodes. We'll have a look at market building, rally spot, and also the tavern building. So let's go straight into that now. So again, as I said, I haven't done anything. So what I am going to do on this one is upgrade quite a few of these buildings that you can see. And all I'm going to do is use the free option to be able to do that, taking it all the way up to whatever my keep level is, which is currently number 6. My power is still only 112,000. So the plan is by the end of this particular episode, we'll have got that up and we should potentially be in one of those top 2 alliances. The reason I'm saying that is because we're going to have a look at equipment. We're going to have a look at our generals and up-leveling them. And also, of course, obviously upgrading all the different buildings. So there's a potential there for quite a bit of power, which we looked at yesterday was 1.9 million. Let's have a look at what today's is in the ranking, as we've now gone 12 or so hours ahead. We're looking at Monarch Power ranking. Again, the top player is Zones on 207.5 million. We've got NIN or NIN from the TOP Alliance on 102.7 million. But what we're interested in, all the way down at the bottom, top 200, and we can see that we are looking at 2.4 million as a minimum to be trying to get in one of those alliances. Also as well, we've got the chat function, and you will notice as well, can't type anything in, because your keep needs to be level 7 before you can be speaking in world chat. So with all that said, let's get started by upgrading all of these buildings to the max level that they can go. You can see already I need some food, so let's just take 1 million of everything while I'm here. Hopefully you are following along as to what I'm doing on all the different things. So you can actually see there as well that I don't have the 1 million of the stone, so I will use it via this method, and I'll just take 3 million, which should allow me to upgrade most things to the relevant level. Let's go to Holy Palace. That is unlocked at level 11, it said. We've got the hospital. These are all buildings. Now, if you want to know what every building does, I'm just going to click on this here. If we click onto the detail button, I did mention it on the last one, but I will mention it again. You do get more information as to what and how things work. So it's telling you your hospital heals your wounded troops. Upgrade your hospital to house and heal more of those wounded troops. And if you click on the more information, you can see my hospital capacity is currently 20,000. But if I was to go all the way down to what my other account is, which is a 39, you can see that I'd be having 570,000 in that capacity. So again, let's continue. I'm not using any speed ups, so I'm only upgrading the options that are giving me for free. So that is that one done now. Let's do it with the shrine. And just to confirm, I mentioned earlier that I'm talking about 3 buildings. That's what I'm going to do on each episode to break these down. Is I'm just going to talk about a couple of buildings on each episode, what they do, what their function is, how you use it, so as not to overload you with loads of information. This is the workshop, your siege troops. We're going to have an introduction to troops today. Let's get onto the market and upgrade that to the maximum level. Have we got anything else we can put down? No, we haven't. Walls, they can be upgraded to level 6. That is now done as well. And when we go to the keep, if we click on upgrade, you can see conscription level 1 is required. So again, there is something that I need to do. This is going to actually be via the research. You can see it's automatically took me to the conscription one that I need, which is increasing the capacity of training troops. Click on research for that one, and then we wait for that to do. Now, again, I mentioned it yesterday, I mentioned it again today, 4 minutes 50. If I was in an alliance, an active alliance, then I would be able to request assistance or helps, which is also what they're known as. They will knock minutes off my construction or research that I need to do. It doesn't work with troops, but it does work with research and construction. In fact, what I'm going to do as well, just going to have a look at the alliance powers and see what we've got. So we've got 704. So it looks like we've got 3 or 4 decent alliances. You would struggle, I would personally struggle to get in to those top 2 because of my power. And again, if I go into the second one, go into view members, you can potentially go all the way down to the bottom, which will sort of give you an idea as to who they've got in there. So you can see they've got a level 10 in there, 83.6k, or a 52.1k. There is actually the potential that they may say yes to you, especially as well that they've got 2 spaces available. If we had a look at the top one, you can see they are completely full, and you would probably struggle to get in here. But again, if you are showing consistency, if you are showing that you're logging in every day, if you are active in the chat, which we unlock at level 7, then there would be no reason that the top alliance wouldn't take you, especially if they know how the game works, how it runs, and the fact that we're all going to server versus server. And again, I mentioned it yesterday, again, I will mention it today. One of the most important things that you can do on Evony as a free-to-play low spender is be involved in monster rallies that are being set by big, powerful other members. So being in that top alliance, being involved in those rallies, you only have to send 1 troop to each of those rallies, gets you awesome rewards. So the quicker you can get into the top alliance, the top 2 alliances, and get involved with those rallies, the better it will be for you. Now, I've gone all the way through. It looks like I've got everything to the maximum that I can without using speed ups or without using helps. So the next thing that I'm going to have a look at, the first look, I did mention it, introduction to troops. So let's do that via the stables. The reason I'm doing that via stables, we actually have archer, which is for your ranged. We have barracks, which is for your ground troops. We have the stables, which is for your mounted. And then we have workshop, which is for your siege. If you click on each of these individual buildings and click detail and then more information, you will see what troops unlock at the different levels. So tier 1, I've got the slinger conscripts, and then for tier 2, I would need to upgrade my archer camp to level 6, and for tier 3, level 9, and so on and so forth, all the way down. And that's the way it does. And that's your troops. Now, I said I mentioned stables. The reason I'm mentioning stables is because this is one of those games that it pushes you in a direction. Most people fall into the trap. Personally, there's not really any other way to go, especially if you're free to play. What ends up happening, the long-term game goal, is you will have a whole bunch of tier 1, tier 2 mounted troops, which is in your stables, and they are normally attacked by the bigger people with their ranged, and that is the way the game sends you. It doesn't really go any other way. So building as many of those T1 troops from the beginning is going to be useful. Now, of course, I can click on train here and go straight into this, but be aware, I'm only training 50 troops, 8 minutes 20, and of course via research that can all be sped up. So just to show you, if I was to go to the military tab on here, and if we have a look straight away at conscription, the first thing that it's showing is those 50 troops that I mentioned, the capacity of training troops would be increased via here. But of course as well, we've got some ones, we go further down, you obviously get some for buffs and things like that, but also as well you will get a march slot. That's very important. Obviously do that via your military, but also as well, just going to continue down, and what we want to look for is the advanced conscription. So at the top we had the normal conscription, which is increasing the capacity, how many we can train, and if we go further down all the way to advanced conscription, we can also see we can increase that training speed, and it would be ideal if you can, but you can see here you need academy level 18, so it's going to be very tough to do that. So at the beginning it is pretty much as it is in terms of training those troops, but just be aware you can increase that training speed. So you could potentially hold off on training a load of troops until you've increased to the maximum academies. It's all about trying to find the right balance in terms of saving resources, saving items as best as you possibly can, so that you've got them going forward. I'm a big one. I'm a hoarder, genuinely a hoarder. Keeping stuff back, holding it back until you've got those buffs, the increase in training, increase in training speed, obviously can be beneficial. But just to show you the introduction to troops on here, let's go straight into it. I'm going to train 90 now. That's because I've done that first one in the conscription, so it's gone up from 50. It's going to take me 15 minutes to do that, and then we can also have a look as well on these troops. You've got this option here, and then we also have the option underneath as well. Let's just see what they are saying. Mounted troop formation. Mounted troops counter ground troops, increasing the damage by 20%. So what that means is if you was going to attack ground with your mounted troops, you would get a 20% damage increase buff on that. But the one underneath is the one that's crucial. Mounted troops are countered by ranged troops, receiving an additional damage 20%, and that's hence the reason why people send ranged at a lot of these counts and keeps early on, because they're all going to be filled with the mounted troops. Now the question would be is, can I actually go any other way? And the answer would be not unless you're paying, and even then it can still be quite difficult. I'd say 95% of people, tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, are probably mounted troop defense, but obviously then add all the different equipment and all this kind of stuff as well to increase buffs to make it more difficult for those ranged troops to attack. But I would say the majority of people on the game Evony have mounted troops as their defense, and it's just trying to get the best buffs, the best equipment to utilize the best you can those mounted troops. So this is an introduction to the troops. We've done that. Let's now have a look at the next thing which we've got on today's episode, which is general equipment. So you can see there I've already got a lovely little arrow pointing to the Parthian axe. This will all mean a hell of a lot more as we go further in. I'm not going to do a detailed breakdown of the equipment. It'd make the video too long, and it sort of needs its own video if that makes sense. But just a little introduction to the general equipment. Let's go straight across. And what you would actually need, can't build it, but I will be able to in a minute, you would need the forge. That is where they are done. So we need keep level 7. Let's go and do that right now. I've now got the keep level 7 complete. So now I can place that forge that I was talking about. And then let's just upgrade that very, very quickly to the max level. And then we can have a look inside. I do apologise. I didn't realise I hadn't changed the screen back. So here I am. There it is, the building that I was talking about. The forge, I've upgraded it to level 5. We can go and have a look inside there, and you can see we've got the option here of craft. We've got the option here of materials. You need materials to craft your equipment. Again, you can click on detail if you just wanted a breakdown. Sometimes it will say very little in terms of information, and that is the example for the forge. But when we click into the craft option, this is where you can see all the different equipment, and what you've got going at the bottom going all the way around are your different pieces. So we've got the ring, we've got boots, we've got leg armor, we've got dragon, we've got the normal armor and a helmet. And if we go back the other way, on the other side of the ring, we also have the bow, spear, axe, sword, and then lastly the console staff. Ignore that for the time being. So that is all the different types of equipment. And then you can also see, if we go back to one of these, let's use the ring as an example, you can see that we need different types of material to be able to craft it. It comes with all these different types of buffs. And then if you own a set, so if we owned all 4 pieces for the general's ring, which will make more sense when I show you the general, then we'd also get these additional buffs as well. Also, you do need this, which is called a scroll. So it's this option here, and that scroll will also be required alongside the different materials to craft that equipment. Let's go and show you a general and show you how that looks when placing them on the general. And let's use Theodora as an example, and you can see this is where she would be having all these pieces of equipment that I just mentioned on her as well. So Theodora, like I say, these would be where you put all the different equipment. Now you can see there's 6 there. Obviously on that one that we looked at there was only 4 required, but in an ideal world the long-term goal of this is to have 6 pieces of red equipment, which will be some while before you're able to do that. But the idea is you will have 6 pieces of red equipment that will all be from the same set, that will be giving you all the individual buffs for each individual piece of armor, but also the set buffs as well. And what I will say is the equipment alongside troops adds quite a bit of power to your keep. So this 113,000 that I've got here at the moment would change significantly as I start adding troops, higher tier troops, and also the equipment to all of the different generals. Now let's go to the world. This is where we're going now. We're going to jump into there and we're going to have a look at monsters for the first time, and you can see we've got them scattered all over. There's quite a lot of monsters. There's quite a lot that are also rally monsters where you would need to rally them to be able to take them on. But let's just use this as an example here. This is a level 7 bandit. When I click into attack, the first thing it's going to say to me is that I need to attack the level 1 first. If you do that, these are the possible items that can drop from there, and that includes your material chest, it includes your speed ups, resources, and then finally medals, which you use to upgrade a general's star level. So that is what you'd want to work through. Let's click back on that again. Let's click attack. Let's click to level 1. It will find that automatically for me. It won't be an issue at all to kill these. Winning odds is extremely high because, of course, it's only a level 1 monster. You can see also as well, let me just jump back there very quickly. When I click on attack, you will also notice that we need stamina to be able to do that. And I was talking about stamina on the last video. You can check on your stamina via your monarch. That is up here. And when you click onto that image, you will notice your stamina is here. And I have currently 100 out of 100. So it would make sense for me to go and spend that, use that stamina up, killing monsters, and then it will recharge over a set period of time, like most of these games do with that. But like I say, in an ideal world, again, I'm going to reiterate it, I said it as a tip in the last one, you want to be spending your stamina being in a big alliance, killing monsters via other people's rallies. Let's go and kill a monster anyway while we're here. Let's go and kill this level 1. Click on attack, click on march. It's going to take me 3 minutes and 16 seconds to get there. It always shocks me when I go onto this because obviously I'm used to all my buffs, my speed up buffs, everything that comes with owning different equipment and all the different buffs from Academy Research and things like that, various things. So 3 minutes and 16 seconds to march to a monster is very rare. So that is quite painful to see that from the beginning. But once it's gone and done that, not only will you get the rewards that I mentioned, but you'll also get some first time down rewards, it's called, which is the first time for killing in a level 1. And you would get that for every single monster that is on the Evony game. So that is for all these individual monsters and also for the monsters that you kill via rallies. There are also some special monsters that are event specific that aren't available all the time, that come out at different times on the game. So that is killing monsters. We've had an introduction to troops. We've had an introduction to the equipment. The next thing that I'm going to mention very, very quickly is these 3 buildings. Just skip through this. Okay, so it's talking about the forge. It's because I've unlocked the forge, it's now talking about the equipment that I can craft, which we've already spoken about. Equipment is quite involved because, as I mentioned, you get the set, then you can also upgrade them in terms of stars, and then you can also refine this equipment as well. Evony is one of those complicated games where if you've never played it before, there's a lot to learn. There really genuinely is a lot to learn. I've been playing it now for 2 years, around about 2 years I think, and I'm still learning stuff new every day playing this game, so just be aware of that. There is a lot to learn, but hopefully in this series and the videos that I'll be doing, and just to talk about that very, very quickly, I will be doing after this video, so tomorrow's video won't be a Zero to Hero episode. It will actually be 10 things I'd wish I'd known before starting Evony 2026. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video, 10 things that you will know before starting Evony, because I'm going to do it after this video. So that video will be very important to you. It will definitely let you know some things to be aware of before we jump into all these things. Okay, 3 buildings. Market number 1. Let's go and have a look at the market number 1, which is this one over here. Very quick look into it. Click on the detail. Your market allows you to trade and tax on resources. Upgrade your market to increase your gains. So you can see there, I've got free tax times 2, and this is the revenue that would come via that. If I click on more information, you can see the increases on this for the different levels of your market. Let's come back off that. Let's go back into there. This time you will notice there is a black market button which is currently locked. That is unlocked at market level 11. This gives you the option to purchase other items at a reduced cost, at a percentage reduction. There is also tax, which we just mentioned. So if I was to click on this and use my free chances times 2, which increases with the level, I would then get 30,000 resources for those 2 times. So if I click on that, and there you can see 30,000 food has been added. So crucial to get that up as quick as you can. And the other thing to mention on here, the option isn't unlocked, but there is also the option to purchase additional items via bidding, which you are competing against other members from your server and potentially as well from a few other servers as well. But once that unlocks and it's on the flip again with that 2-week cycle, you are able to do that, which will be this Friday. Hopefully this Friday I will be able to show you some more stuff in relation to that as well. So that's your market. Few options there to be aware of. The next one we're going to have a look at, very crucial actually, rally spot. The rally spot, the reason it's crucial is not only can you set up March presets in here, which is pretty convenient. So basically you can set up layers of troops. So one of the things we have to do on this game, when you are attacking, you need to attack with layers. And what I mean by layers is tier 1s, tier 2s, tier 3s, all the way down. Normally around about 1,000. It really depends. It's changing all the time. But let's use that as an example. 1,000 of every single troop type, all the way down to the max that you've got. You would be able to set them up via this March preset in here. Again, unlocks at level 11. And that is quite convenient. But also as well, rally spot, if I click on the information and we have a look in there, you also get a March size increase, which is also crucial. So you can see there, my March size for a level 1 is 800. But if I was to go all the way down, again using my 39 as an example, that increases to 500,000. So that is how you increase your March size. As I mentioned, we will also at some point have a look at those March presets. And there are other things that unlock as we go further down. But that's just a very quick introduction to your rally spot. And then lastly, for this particular video, we'll have a quick look at the tavern. The reason we'll have a look at that is because there are quite a few different things that are going and they are all unlocked as we speak. So once I go into that tavern and you can see all these different things here, we've got things like Wheel of Fortune, where you get a spin to try and win certain items. Nothing massive, nothing crazy. It's not going to explode your account in any way, but again, it all adds up. We also have the activity, which is your daily activity, where you need to do certain quests across these 3 tabs here. So there's an activity one, a main quest one, and a chapter one. We can also recruit generals from here as well. So when you go into this, you can see all these different generals. Now, what I will say very quickly about this particular one, the higher your tavern, the higher the level of the tavern, the better the generals that come out. So personally, I wouldn't be refreshing using these 50 gems until I'd got the tavern level increased so that I can have better generals being shown. And again, if I click on detail, you can see the information I was just talking about in a little bit more detail and the percentage chances of those coming. But that number 1 there, upgrade your tavern to unlock more generals that can be refreshed at the same time, and a higher probability of refreshing higher quality generals with that level increase. The other thing as well, Great General Chest, this is just another way to get some free gifts, including fragments for generals. So again, it's important to get that. And the last thing is the citizens on here, and the citizens we spoke about briefly in the last one, but that is this option also here where they arrive at the front of your wall. We've got loads of them all there, and basically on the right hand side is the citizens. And when I click on these, I get additional buffs, normally around production and speeds for things like that. But again, if we click into this and we have a look at all the different options, you can see again what we've got. And we've got quick assign where we can add all these citizens giving these buffs. So using an example, green is increasing my food production by 2,000. It sounds like a lot. I actually did 3 buildings at the beginning. I was going to say 3 buildings, but as I've done that, it feels like it was a little bit too much. I'm not sure. Give me your feedback because I'm really keen to make this series as easy to understand as possible. There are two ways I can do the buildings. I can do an overview of the buildings in one video, or I can keep adding 2 or 3 buildings to each of these episodes. I'm not really sure. Might be better if I do all the buildings in one go. It's a trial and error kind of thing with this to try and make things as easy as possible to understand. Also, I can see on my time that it's already over 30 minutes. I could probably drop that down. Now, what I am going to do, this is episode 4. Episode 5, I want to sort of take us to the next level, and there's obviously a lot of things that need to be at levels 10, 11, things like that. So I'm currently keep 7. I said I hadn't done anything, but after today's video I definitely am. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push these levels up a bit so we can unlock some of the other things. We'll then be able to have a look at actually crafting some of this equipment, adding some of this to the generals, talking about buffs in more detail. We're sort of getting to that stage now where we can progress a little bit more with this particular series, and that's what I'm going to do. And I will start to really get involved with all these event tabs and different tabs down here as well, which is crucial daily to be making sure that you're getting the best out of this Evony game. Now, to finish off, I'm going to throw this back at you. If there's anything you think I can do different, if there's anything you think that can be changed to make this easier, then please do provide feedback to this video. Another thing I want to show you very quickly as well is my website. Let's just jump over to there now. So you can see this is my website. That's a little pop-up that you'll get after a few seconds. It's just the latest video that I've done. But once we go on to this, he says, you can see this is my website. Now, I've built everything on this personally myself. So this is everything. If you see any errors on here, it's all down to me. It's no one else. I've made everything from putting all the text in and all the images all the way down to doing all the different guides. It's, again, you can see I've really taken this project very, very seriously. And this is the Evony one. I will be doing this for all the games. It's just my little project and it's just what I want to do. And it's been a few years in the making, and I think I can take it to the next level in 2026. And so when you go over to this is actually updated with 2025. So I updated a lot of these particular ones for Evony, where you'll be able to go in there and you'll be able to see some of my older videos, which I'll be redoing. But also you'll be able to read through some of the stuff that I've already put there. So that is a beginner's guide. Let's come back off that. Let's go back into Evony, and this time let's have a look at a troops guide. You will get a breakdown of the troops and how they all work and what beats what, etc, etc. So it's worth checking out, but just be aware that I am keen to improve and update this particular section of the website. And the last thing is the Tiber blog that I'm just going to mention. The reason I say that is I update things in there in terms of generals. So this is where you can see I add all my videos, I add different blogs and stuff like that as well. So that is also worth checking for as well. That is where I'm going to leave this video. So when I come back in episode 5, like I say, there will be a break while I do the 10 things I wish I'd known before starting Evony. But when I come back in episode 5, I will be part of an alliance. My keep will be a lot bigger, and you'll also notice there'll be a lot more buildings down. That is it for this particular episode. Please do continue to support me by subscribing to the channel. It really does help, and I'm very grateful. Getting closer to 5,000 subs, so that is pretty impressive, and I thank every single one of you for that support. And I will see you in the 10 tips I wish I'd known before starting Evony tomorrow. Thanks for watching.